In this video, I'll be borrowing 10 minutes of your precious time to tell you some useless information about human psychology that you might as well forget about as soon as you click off this video. So, let's begin. A group of people tends to appear 1.5 to 2% more attractive as a collective than as individuals. This is because our brains average out facial features which can make the group seem more appealing overall. This is called the cheerleader effect. Humans are the only species known to blush. Charles Darwin called it the most peculiar and most human of all expressions. You're more likely to forget something after walking through a doorway into a new room. This is because your brain categorizes information by the environment, so moving to a new room can cause a mental reset, making you forget what you were doing. This is called the doorway effect. Have you ever thought about a specific car model and then went out for a drive to then see that specific car model everywhere on the road? This is called the 𝘤𝘳𝘥𝘪𝘥 phenomenon, which is also called the frequency illusion. This phenomenon occurs when you notice something and then you start seeing it everywhere. It's not that the thing is suddenly more common, your brain is just more attuned to noticing it. Have you ever been inside your friend's house and thought, their house has a much more noticeable smell than my house? This is called the nose blindness effect. Basically, your brain gets so used to familiar smells that it stops registering them, which is why you don't notice your house's unique smell. Have you ever seen something so cute, like a cat or a puppy, and felt the urge to squeeze every bit of breath out of their body? If you have, then you've experienced cuteness aggression. When you see something overwhelmingly cute, like a cat or a puppy, you might feel the urge to squeeze or pinch it. This is your brain's way of trying to balance out strong emotions. Thanks to the nostalgic wiring in your brain, it can almost feel like you're being transported back in time whenever you smell some Play-Doh, have a spoonful of your childhood cereal, or hear the sound of a specific ringtone. If you repeat a word over and over and over again, it can start to lose its meaning and just sound like random noise. This happens because your brain temporarily deactivates the meaning of the word after being overloaded with it. It's kinda like in that one episode of Adventure Time.
Girls love fun more than anything. Fun, fun, fun. If you can show Bubblegum that you're fun, she'll definitely want to go to the movies with you.
You said fun so much, it sounds all weird now. Fun.
This is called semantic satiation. The more you're exposed to something, the more you tend to like it, even if you didn't like it initially. That's why that one song on TikTok that you originally didn't like can start to grow on you if you hear it repeatedly. The pins and needles sensation when a limb falls asleep isn't because it's lacking blood flow. It's actually your nerves getting compressed or irritated, sending mixed signals to your brain. People are more likely to find you likable if you make a small mistake or blunder, as long as you're genuinely competent. This effect occurs because it makes you seem more relatable and human. This is called the pratfall effect. The more people present during an emergency, the less likely any person is to help. Each individual assumes someone else will step in, leading to a diffusion of responsibility. This is called the bystander effect. You think people are paying more attention to you than they actually are. This bias makes you overestimate how much others notice your actions, appearance, or mistakes. This is called the spotlight effect. Your brain is hardwired to see patterns, which is why you might see faces in clouds, rock formations, or even houses. This tendency to find meaningful images in random things is known as pareidolia. Your memory of information fades over time, with the sharpest decline occurring shortly after you learn something. Without reinforcement, you can forget up to 90% of what you learn within a week. This is just another reason why you should take those notes in class. Interestingly enough, some of your best ideas come to you when you're in the shower or doing something mindless. This happens because your brain is more relaxed and free to make connections without distractions. People who try to appear more interesting by bragging or exaggerating often end up being perceived as less interesting. Authenticity is genuinely more attractive than self-promotion. So, if you're ever on a date, remember to express your qualities with your actions and not with your words. You're more likely to remember the first and last items in a list than the ones in the middle. This is why first impressions and final remarks are so impactful, especially with books, movies, and even with people. This is called the serial precision effect. Speaking more than one language can actually rewire your brain, making you better at multitasking and problem solving. This is called the bilingual advantage. When you try really hard not to think about something, it often makes you think about it even more. This is why trying to suppress certain thoughts can make them more persistent. This is called the ironic process theory. People tend to have a preference for letters in the alphabet that are part of their own name, especially the first letter. This may seem like a stretch, but recent evidence suggests that name initials may even predict a person's career choices. This is called the name letter effect. The way information is presented can significantly influence decisions. For example, people are more likely to choose an option described as having a 90% survival rate than one with a 10% mortality rate, even though they mean the same thing. This is called the framing effect. Small, seemingly insignificant actions can have large, unforeseen consequences over time. This concept, often used in chaos theory, reflects the complexity of cause and effect, both in life but also in psychology. This is called the butterfly effect. Offering a reward for a task that somebody already loves doing can reduce their motivation to do it. For example, if you start paying someone to play a game they love, they might start enjoying it less because they now see it as work. This is called the overjustification effect. Exposure to a specific shade of pink, often called Baker-Miller pink or drunk tank pink, has been shown to have a calming effect on people. This color is sometimes used in prisons and psychiatric hospitals to reduce aggression. Spending time in nature can boost your mood, creativity, and even your immune system. This phenomenon is usually called forest bathing. Higher expectations lead to an increase in performance. If a teacher believes a student is capable of great things, the student is more likely to achieve them due to the positive reinforcement and extra attention. This is called the Pygmalion effect. Perfectionists are often less productive because they spend too much time on little details, which can lead to procrastination and stress. Ironically, aiming for perfection can sometimes prevent you from finishing tasks altogether. Hitting the snooze button can actually make you more tired. Those extra minutes of sleep are usually of poor quality, which can leave you feeling even sleepier than if you had just gotten up with the first alarm. Your brain is wired to focus more on negative experiences than the positive ones. This is a survival mechanism that makes bad things seem more significant, but in reality, it's your brain helping you avoid potential dangers. There is something called the wabi-sabi effect. This is a Japanese concept which involves appreciating the beauty in imperfection. Psychologically, people often find flawed or asymmetrical objects, aka humans, more endearing, which ties into the broader idea of embracing imperfection in life. Variety might not be the spice of life after all. When given too many choices, people often experience choice overload, leading to less satisfaction with their decision. In experiments, people given fewer jelly bean flavors tend to enjoy them more than those overwhelmed by too many options. This is called the jelly bean paradox. Tilting your head slightly to one side can make you appear more approachable. People tend to associate head tilts with friendliness, which is why it's a common gesture when people want to seem more likable. Have you ever watched a movie more than once and thought that the movie becomes shorter and shorter every time you rewatch it? This is called time perception dilation. This happens because the first time you watch the movie, your brain is processing a lot of unfamiliar information, making the movie feel longer. color can actually alter how you perceive the taste of food. For example, foods with warm colors like orange or red often seem sweeter even if the flavor is the same. Your brain associates certain colors with certain flavors regardless of reality. So, this is the end of the video. If you're certain that I got one of these facts wrong, or if you just have something else on your mind, feel free to leave it in the comments. I check pretty much all the comments and reply to all of them, so if you do leave a comment, then you're almost guaranteed to get a reply from me. So feel free to leave a comment, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I will see you next time. Goodbye.